Welcome to the Rethink Your Lifestyle podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Boyd Waters. Can you believe that this is episode number 6? I love sharing amazing teacher entrepreneurs and small business owners with you, so let's get started today. I'm excited to interview Patrysha again. She's going to talk to us about YouTube marketing and answer all of our questions, including how can I use YouTube as a small business marketing tool? What equipment do I need to record? Do I need to buy a camera? How can I repurpose my video content for more marketing purposes? What tools do I need to transcribe and caption my videos? And finally, can I use YouTube to market if I hate being in front of the camera?
Are you ready to take control of your life? Then you've come to the right place. The Rethink Your Lifestyle podcast is here to help entrepreneurs like you start, grow, and scale the online business you love. Join host Michelle Waters as she shares her journey from the classroom to the freedom of being her own boss. She'll interview inspiring entrepreneurs and share tips and insights along the way. All right, without any further ado, let's get this show started.
With everything else you're doing, learning one more tech platform isn't high up on your list. But to build your new online business platform, learning WordPress is a must. So I've designed a course to help you learn those skills easily as you build the website you've envisioned. Get started today at rethinkyourlifestyle.com/WordPress skills. Welcome back to the Rethink Your Lifestyle podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Waters, and I have Patrysha with me today, and we are going to talk about YouTube marketing, something that I don't know very much about. So I am so glad to have you here.
And I am excited to be here because this is really an excellent form of marketing for most small businesses. So I'm really excited to be sharing everything I know today.
Awesome. I am so glad to hear that. I know most of the people listening who are considering starting their own business, or they are considering starting their own business, and so they're pretty new and may not really have an understanding of whether or not this was appropriate for them or how to use it. And so if you could kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in marketing, we can kind of get into that topic.
Absolutely. So going back to the very beginning, I began my work at home career as a daycare provider, an at-home daycare provider, and the only advertising I needed was being registered with the agency and putting a few posters up around town. As I progressed, I did start my own little website for the parents within my day home. And from there, it's been a long career of doing a lot of different things online. Started a website for childcare providers and went from there to doing freelance writing. And from that, I got into publicity. So it's been a long ride, and along the way, I've gotten certifications in being a small business coach, as well as in small business marketing, communications, economic development, and just about everything related to operating a small local business successfully.
Awesome. So how did you find your way to YouTube marketing?
Well, again, that goes back to a long story. Way back in high school, I had a little Super 8 video camera. I was making videos, and my first choice of careers was actually broadcasting. I wanted to be a daytime host of a variety show, basically. I know that you are in the States, and most of the viewers wouldn't be aware, but I was thinking more, I wanted to be the Deanie Petty of my generation, which is a Canadian sort of thing, but basically that's what I wanted to do out of high school. So I've always sort of been interested in video. Even way back in my beginnings, I created videos with the technology that was available at the time. YouTube did not exist back then. I came to it very naturally as it began, but I didn't get in on it in the beginnings in 2004 and 2006 when a lot of the popular YouTubers got started. But I've been watching from a distance for a while, and most recently, over the last couple of years, I have been using YouTube within my own business and to help other businesses within our community.
So how can YouTube benefit a small business? You know, we didn't get started back in 2004 2004, 2006, and the small business has a focus on doing whatever it does, how can a business use YouTube as a tool as opposed to the primary purpose?
Well, as a marketer for small businesses, we know our customers are on YouTube. So we can do things like, for example, if you're a yarn shop, do little tutorials on how to crochet or how to knit, and that will help you increase your expertise within your community. Almost any business can benefit from being on YouTube, whether you are doing it as a side to your main business or whether you are doing it to market your main business. For example, if you were a nail tech and doing pretty nails, you can easily create YouTube videos showing the process of doing nails. You can give tips on how to look after your nails after you leave the salon. You can give tips on how to, whatever it is that your business has, there's usually information that you can share, and just being out there and being accessible will help guide people to your business.
So like using your nail tech example or a card maker, they have new products that come out every year. So maybe demonstrating the new products that are available in your store or through your workshops or what have you, perhaps?
Absolutely. You can show the process. People love the how it's made part of businesses. So showing some of that behind the scenes stuff can be gold for your marketing because you are showing, not telling. And that really is the benefit of using video over a lot of other strategies that you might have available to you. If you are a small business owner, you have limited time to market. The beauty of YouTube videos, creating YouTube videos, means that you can accomplish a lot of things in a short amount of time because you can repurpose the content you create for YouTube, for video, into other formats very easily and quickly. And it can really be a time saver in marketing your business.
So could you give us an example of how one might repurpose a YouTube video or content that includes YouTube video?
Okay, so for example, you can do the obvious video to video, taking your video to Instagram or TikTok and using small portions of them to just, it's basically a matter of editing small segments of your longer video and using them as they are on Instagram and TikTok and other video formats, Facebook. Anywhere you can use video, you can repurpose that video many times over. But then you can also take the transcript of that video and use that as a blog or an article on your website. You can use the information within that YouTube video to create other content, whether it is visual content or written content for your other social media. So it's a matter of taking the content that you've created for YouTube and reformatting and using it in the other media.
So you mentioned using the transcript in blog posts or articles. How do you go about getting that transcript? I know when I try to listen to video and then write down what I heard, a 15-minute video takes 3 hours to try to transcribe. So how do you do that?
Okay, so for me, I personally use Premiere Pro, which has a transcription button right in it. It's not always reliable, but that is one way that you can do it. Another way is to, when you upload it to YouTube, it will make auto captions for you. It takes a couple of hours in a lot of circumstances, but what you can do is go download that text, fix it because there are always mistakes that it makes. So then you re-upload that to YouTube and then you already have the transcript ready to go. You just have to reformat it pretty much.
Yes, I had heard about YouTube, and also when I was trying to transcribe some audios for school, I discovered a site called rev.com, which is another place where you can get a written transcript, and they have the ability where you can get a, machine-produced transcript for, pennies. and just go in and fix it, or you can have a human go over it as well. And it costs more, but it is so cost effective in terms of time. But I love your option of using YouTube. And so there's a few options that people can use in order to get that transcript. I could actually do that for my podcast too, and use the transcript to provide for accessibility purposes.
Absolutely. And you do want to think about that. Closed captioning does help our auditory, those who have that, who can't listen, so that they can, still experience and take in the information that we are providing through our videos. I did want to mention that there is another way that you can do it, and that is using the microphone in your Google Documents. You can click on that microphone and play that recording, and it will also transcribe for you.
I will have to look into that because I don't think I had tried that yet.
Just for ease sake, I just say just upload it to YouTube, let it do its thing, download, fix it, and you are ready to go. It really doesn't take that much effort, and it doesn't take that much time. So that's the easiest one I would go with if you don't happen to have a full subscription to the Adobe programs like I do.
Let's take a look at me, for example. I'm a business coach, and then I also have an educational publishing company. So for either of those projects, if I decided I wanted to get into YouTube marketing, what would I need to get started?
You need a camera, and most of us have a phone that allows us to do everything that you need to get started with video. As you progress, you'll want to add lighting, and you'll want to think about, now for you, you've already got a podcast, so you have great sound already. You don't need to worry about adding that. But in most cases, you will want to look into getting a lapel mic or something along those lines so that you can get better sound for your podcast, or for your video, because really, when it comes down to it, our sound is more important than the video that we capture.
Why is that?
Well, that's because most times that people are consuming YouTube content, and it really applies to any content that we are consuming visually, it is the sound that's going to put us off if we can't hear it, if it's garbled, if it has a huge echo. You may have experienced this watching YouTube videos with wind in them. Those sorts of things really turn off the viewer, and it doesn't matter how magnificent the visuals are in that case, it's going to detract from the video. And a lot of people don't think about it because they think that the visual is the most important thing. And so that's why I want to make clear that sound is really very important when taking in your video.
So another one of my concerns is, what if I'm not comfortable in front of the camera? I'm always the person, I would rather be behind the camera. And I kind of run and hide when somebody points a camera at me. So, can I still do YouTube marketing?
Absolutely. There's a variety of ways that you can still do YouTube marketing, whether you use slides and simply do a voiceover. You can do what I did and create puppets so that they can go in front of the camera and you are behind the scenes. There's animation programs that you can use so that you can create little cartoons and just do the voiceover. Now, if you are not comfortable with either your voice or the way you look, you can always hire somebody to do a voiceover. You can use virtual technology. There are virtual voices that you can put and use and create video and audio that way. There are channels. Now, there are some people who do not like the sound of the virtually created voices. And
yes, I was just thinking about that.
And that is a valid concern. You will likely not get as many viewers if you go that route, but it is, it is an investment if you hire a voiceover artist, but that can be one way to get around the problem if you have that issue. But really, at the end of the day, if you are able to be yourself in public, you can probably be yourself on camera as well. It just takes time and practice. It is really really worth it to become comfortable in front of the camera. If you aren't, like I said, there are options, but really you will get the best bang for your buck and your time if you are willing to be on camera, because people do respond to faces in any visual format. It really is, the eyeball to eyeball contact that does, so much of the job for you. So you are going to experience lesser results if you don't go on camera, but it can be done.
I guess if I can stand in front of a classroom of, 20 to 28 teenagers and survive, I should be able to go on YouTube, right?
You would think so. I mean, it is not, I would think that for a lot of people, being in front of those teenagers would be a lot more terrifying than being in front of the camera. And really, when it comes down to being comfortable in front of a camera, it does disappear as you get into your content, as you picture, your best client on the other side of the camera. It can be a little bit jarring when you're getting going to be talking to no one. But it does get more comfortable as you practice, as you go along, as with anything in life. If it doesn't feel natural in the beginning, that's okay. It is going to be okay. You will get through it and you will get through to the other side.
So you've convinced me. I'm ready to get started putting YouTube videos out there for Rethink Your Lifestyle. One of the things that I was thinking is, what if I took like this podcast, for example, and put some sort of visual behind it and put that on YouTube? Would that work?
Absolutely, that would work. You might want to consider doing it on video, like in the future. You can do it on video and release it through all the podcast formats, and you've got both in one, so that you don't have to go back and add visuals. With the ones that you've already created, like this one that we're creating now, definitely add visuals, add the salient points, the questions and pieces of the answer, just to make it a little bit more appealing visually. Now, there are some podcasts that go up there, they just have, the one picture and it goes through and you just have the voice in the background. But those ones generally don't, again, do as well because they're not visually appealing. But you wouldn't believe how many people aren't watching, but are only listening to YouTube videos. There's lots of people who have it on in the background. They are learning something, so they aren't in front of their computers or in front of their screens actually watching. They're driving, variety of ways. So absolutely, you can do that. It's not the expected format on YouTube, so it's not going to do as well in terms of organic pickup, but it's still a valid way to put your content out there.
So speaking of organic pickup, how do I get new clients from YouTube or potential clients from YouTube to my website? How do I get them to my video, and then how do I get them from my video to my website?
Well, what you want to do is focus on creating content that answers the questions that they are asking, because YouTube is the second most used search engine. And when people go there, they are looking for answers to their questions. So that is the number one way that you are going to be able to get people that don't know anything about you to your videos initially. So depending on what you're doing, you want to think about that. Now, if you are more experienced and you know a little bit about search engine optimization, which is commonly known as SEO, what you will be able to do is use the keywords that people are looking for, put them into your title, put them into your description, and your video will get picked up as people search for it. So that's just one way that you can get more eyeballs onto your videos through YouTube's existing infrastructure.
I'm glad you mentioned that about SEO, because I am working on a course to help teach people those basics of SEO, and so I'll include a link to that, and along with the links to all of your things as well. So that answers the question of getting people from, the basic Google search or YouTube page or whatever to my video. How do I then get them to my website?
By suggesting it in your video, in your description, you want to encourage them to further their relationship with you through that content. If you've delivered something that they had a question that you answered, then towards the end of the video, you want to make sure that you ask them to like and subscribe, and also to check out your other commodities online. You want to invite them into that further relationship the same way you would do with any other content that you put out there. And again, in addition to that organic reach, you also want to use any social media that you are currently on to cross-promote your materials across the web. YouTube should just be one part of your whole marketing program.
Going back to the YouTube video itself, I could say something, like, please like and subscribe to rethinkyourlifestyle.com, and you can visit Patrysha and I at rethinkyourlifestyle.com and patrysha.com, or something like that.
Or something along those lines. And also, you can back that up with the visuals and make sure you have those little animations that ask people to like and subscribe. You don't always have to do it verbally, because sometimes that can get a little bit, as you just said that sentence, it's like, oh my God, that's so much. You do want to spread it out. You want to make it, this is a conversation we're having with our viewers. So try to make it as natural as possible. Of course, when people like, subscribe, and comment, that makes it more likely that we will be suggested in the algorithm as people, discover us, as more people interact with our content, the more it gets out there in the YouTube universe. So we want to encourage engagement with our videos through that. And, it really happens quite naturally, I find, with videos and networking, where people will ask for that information in the comments and so forth. So you will find that sometimes people want to, where can I get more information? That sort of thing. And again, you've got your description area, and it's highly suggested that you create a pinned comment on every video. So within that pinned comment area, you can put those links that are relevant to your audience and relevant to that video.
And you said a pinned comment?
That's right. And that's something that you can do within YouTube. You'll write a comment and then you can pin it to the top of the video.
Okay, I will have to look into that. So, out of all of this, and everything we've talked about and anything we've missed, perhaps, what would you say is your best advice for a small business wanting to leverage YouTube videos to promote their company and their products?
My best advice is to first follow somebody that you admire on YouTube who's teaching strategies on using YouTube. One that I can highly recommend is Sunny Lendarzi. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. I will get you that name and spelling so that you can add that to the show notes for them. But that will be really what you, and the next thing is get started. We can talk all day about strategies and how to do it. And the truth is that just getting started will get you halfway there.
And I am so glad you said that, because Cindy Bidar had an email this morning talking about wanting perfection and how you need to get past wanting perfection and just get it done.
Absolutely. And our clients will appreciate that in us, because we don't expect our clients to be perfect. We aren't perfect. This is life. YouTube very much is about being ourselves, sharing the things that are important to us that we can find people to connect with. It is still a social media platform. A lot of people tend to forget that YouTube is social. So yes, get out there, do it, be willing to express yourself in the best way possible, and know that no, it won't be perfect, but it will be you, and it will reach those best clients that connect with your energy. And it's just one of those things that you do have to get started in order to get better, because there are at least 6 gazillion ways you can improve your videos, but you can't improve what you don't have.
Exactly. So I need to take the advice, what I'm hearing, the advice that I give to my students and get started and get it done. And then I can always make it better as I go.
Absolutely. And that is how you grow, and your audience will grow as your skills grow. If you're using this to promote whether it is a small local business or whether it is a small solo online business, you can use YouTube to grow your business. And if it does get big enough, it can actually be another whole income stream. So that's another benefit of getting started today, is because the faster you get to 1,000 viewers and 4,000 watch hours, you will soon have another income stream for your small business.
Well, it sounds like that would be a topic for another episode, perhaps. So thank you so much for sharing this. You've given me a lot to think about and a few more things that I need to get done to get started. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. I just love this topic because it really is one of those things that is so easy to implement in your small business, and it goes such a long way. It truly is one of those big bang for your buck in terms of time, because it absolutely costs nothing to get started on YouTube. Like this is, it's just an amazing champagne marketing on a beer budget idea.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. You have a great day.
You have an amazing rest of the day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Rethink Your Lifestyle podcast, where you learn how to be your own boss. Have questions about starting, growing, or scaling your business? You can ask us anything. Just fill out the form at www.rethinkyourlifestyle.com/askmeanything, and Michelle will answer your burning entrepreneurial questions in an upcoming episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll catch you next time.